Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever for a tip-top, high-level ladder game played between two of our favorite people. Of course, it's on the map DeRosa's Sanctuary. A classic map has been around for the ages. And let's get into player introductions, starting with the blue player in the north and ending with the red player in the south. And we're gonna begin with the blue Seraphim, worst faction. Going first land, his name is Balanced Slave Noob, but we all know him as Harzer, and he's gonna be building a lot of power generators as we move down to the south with the bright red Aeon best faction, my peer, my colleague, and an amazing man himself. It is none other than JaggedAppliance, and I cannot wait to show you all this game. We're gonna go ahead and go to split screen here for you so you can try and copy their build orders. Both went land factory, 4 PGens with assistance from engineers and some reclaim going on the side. They know that they're gonna have a lot of mass to work with, so both of these players have decided to go for a power spammy build. I will say, Harzer definitely going for more power spam and quite possibly the most volatile setup I have ever seen, and this is going to be very, very fun to see. So let's talk about the map. We can look at it here on the mini map, and I'll kind of go over what's going on. We have one major expansion that each of these players are going to go for, but the issue is they could go for the same one, and it could be a problem. There's about 7 mechs expansion over on the opposite corners from where each of these players spawn, and that is going to lead to some contestation of the mass. And in the middle, there are a ton of mass extractors as well as some civilian structures, but none of these are going to be hostile. So overall, with the build orders pretty much figured out, you can see exactly what these players are going for. I mean, I can even do this to show you the order that they're going for things. Let's go ahead and go to this and get a better look at the map. We also have some civilian structures at the end of each of the crosses. It's like a cross in the middle, and it points to all of the other civilian structures. And we have a lot of terrain that leads to choke points. So we could expect a decent little bit of fire basing. There's a lot of changes in elevation. If we go to a certain angle here, you can see all of them. There's about 3 levels of elevation on this map. You have the lowest, which is this outer ring, and then slightly higher are all the 4 corner bases, as well as these kind of second ring of mexes. And then the highest point on the map is going to be up here with the civilians. So that's what we need to keep our eye on. That's what we need to focus on. And we have some air already out for both sides, and we have multiple interceptors out, both teams wanting to avoid a bomber, and by teams I mean players. And man, is this a high rated game. It's going to be very, very fun to see. The interceptor war right now going very poorly for Harzer. I believe he's just going to lose his first interceptor for almost nothing, and now it's 3 versus 1 interceptor. That is never going to go very well for the one. Sure, he picks up one of the interceptors of JaggedAppliance, but JaggedAppliance, he's just gonna say, all right, well, I'll take him anyways. I don't care. Oh no, he's gonna lose a second interceptor. Okay, yeah, quickly going from really good to not so good, but still good over here for Jagged, and he's immediately going to try and lock on to that transport, and the interceptor out from Harzer, it doesn't lock on properly, so the transport now under threat of going down. This could be a huge play coming out from JaggedAppliance. Man, oh man. Oh, if he denies this, it is going to really cripple Harzer's early game, and he doesn't manage it, but it still slows him down. He drops those engineers in not an ideal spot. In between here, he wanted to get the engineers over here to this 7 mechs expansion, and now we have a ton of flares, the strongest light assault bot in the game, making their way up to the northeast to try and just deny Harzer this expansion. And I think that the southwest is where Jagged wants to expand himself, and he has flares going there too. So Jagged may be able to lock him out of the preferred expansion of Harzer, and if he does that, that will be very good. Lots of flares coming out. I constantly get told whenever I build flares that it's a mistake, but when a 2000 does it, it's not. It's just not. The players at this level rarely make large mistakes, and I'm pretty sure that Jagged knows what he's doing. He probably isn't too hyped about getting Aeon in the first place, so he's going Flare instead of Aurora. Maybe just for the early game. We might see him transition into Aurora, or maybe he's just going to do a very early tech switch up to Tech 2. Don't see any factories as of the moment going Tech 2, other than this Tech 2 air factory for Jagged. Harzer, on the other hand, doesn't have a Tech 2 air factory on the way, but does almost have a complete Tech 2 land factory. So that is very, very important to keep track of. The tech differential could be huge here. And all of these flares are making their way out. The engineers were dropped. They're trying to throw up a PD. The flares are trying to kill off the Thoms. The Thoms are focusing down the tanks, but the Thoms are going to die. And the engineers, 2 of them survive. Another tank is coming in. Jagged needs to reply to this tank in kind with a very healthy dose of flares, and he does. So that is going to be a secured expansion now for Jagged in the southwestern corner. In the northeast, some engineers are going to be dropped, but there's just so many flares kicking around that maybe he can pick off the engineers. Of course, eventually we will see Harzer just move engineers, walk them over, and that'll be a little bit safer. But right now, the flare and its mobility are really working wonders for Jagged. I'm liking his position in this game thus far. Harzer doing a little bit better on reclaim, and I think Harzer's doing a little bit better on land production. Let's go ahead and check that land factory count, and he's up to 15 land factories versus Jagged only up to 10, and 9 of those are idle right now for some reason. So he is also going T2 land. He already has T2 air. That is something to keep our eyes on. I'm pretty sure he's building up T2 engineers to try and get himself a T2 Pigeon out. But once he has that air under control, we could see a very likely scenario where he starts throwing out things like the Spectre gunship, or maybe even some Mercies if he's feeling spicy and wants to go for a snipe. So it's all things to keep our eyes on, and it is very, very intense right now. Jagged managing to walk the comm all the way to the southwestern corner. The factory somehow got killed off. There's still 1 engineer remaining, and Jagged is going to be able to just walk over here and have his way. Over here to the northeast, there's still a lot of harassment going on with these labs, but they're not going to be able to expand quite as quickly. Overall mass generation, Jagged is ahead. The early aggression led to him having a lot more of these mexes. He denied more mexes than his opponent has, and that means he's getting up T2 mexes just that little bit faster. It's a very snowbally situation. Not to say Harzer is completely out of it, but Harzer is definitely struggling a little bit here up against this level of aggression that Jagged has thrown out. And Jagged, as I said, he is transitioning slightly into a more Aurora-focused composition. He has managed to get T2 land. He has the T2 air. Is T2 air finished up yet for Balanced Slave Noob? No, it is not, which is very, very scary for us. He doesn't know it just yet. I doubt he's thrown a scout over. No, he knows about that T2 air, so he needs to be a little bit worried there. Down here to the south, Jagged building up a factory. He's trying to get these mexes taken over. The mexes in the northeast are being built up slowly by Harzer. His T2 land production is really coming online. Lots of Yenzines, of all things, coming out. Not going for the Ilsheva. Maybe he feels the Ilsheva. I could speak properly one day, but it's not today. Maybe he feels the Ilsheva is just a little bit too slow or a little bit too expensive for his blood right now, so he is not going for it. He has managed to take the mass generation lead, but that's going to dissipate somewhat quickly as these mexes are grabbed up by JaggedAppliance. In the middle, Jagged has even built mexes out here. Surprise, no reclaim efforts from either player for this reclaim in the middle. There's 4 T2 pigeons. It's worth a lot of mass, but I I guess you do have to commit a fair amount of build power to that, and it's very exposed, so they're not really focusing on that as of the moment. And down here to the south, Engineers dying to this Thom. They saw him up to 2 kills, a rank of veterancy. Very happy Thom right there. Radar going up right here for Jagged. On the eastern side, a bit of a fight back and forth has been going on for a few minutes now. And we see that Harzer is pushing in. He's trying to kill off all of these Aurora, but he's just going to find that his units die just as quickly as the enemies. And over here to the southwest, we have a large line of T1 factories going up. Would be surprised to see these stay at T1 though. I think a few of them are going to go T2 because he wants a lot of T2 production. And T3 land already finished up for Jagged. Man! He is really interested in going for that higher tech play. T3 land has also finished up for Balanced Slave Noob Harzer. It's 10 minutes and they got T3 land pumping. They are ready to go to war. And these Yinzines coming out to the western side. They're going to try and put some pressure down. But unfortunately, even if they get a few kills, even if they do a little bit of damage, it won't matter because Harbingers will clean it up and then reclaim the wreckage. As over here to the northeast, we have a bit more aggression coming out from Jagged. Unfortunately for him, he's just quite heavily outnumbered, and also he's just not going to have the firepower to deal with his Yinzines coming out from Harzer. And Harzer has really gone for a lot of factories at the Tech 2 level, and he has a T3 mechs already done, so Harzer massively ahead in the eco game, but T3 mechs about to finish up for Jagged himself. It's at 96, 97, 98, 99, and 100% complete, and that's going to put them relatively close on economy. It's only about 10 to 20 mass separating them, but Jagged needs to get a little bit better about securing these mechs and getting more of them upgraded as of the moment, because right now Harzer getting that second mechs to T3 means that he's going to be able to cap it, get a lot of mass income very quickly. Speed on the way, range already completed for Jagged. It's a very late gun upgrade, but I mean most of the map is still T1 and T2 units, so there's not too much to worry about. We have Harbingers going to both flanks, and right now Jagged, he's serving the Aeon, he's making us proud, but he is just a little bit behind the Seraphim Scum, who's just getting so many mechs is upgraded right now, and he's looking to be in a very strong position. So you have to worry for Jagged down here in the south. This is a very difficult situation for either side, because right now Harzer definitely has more eco, but I would say the T3 unit count is in the hands of Jagged. But Jagged, this eco is going to slowly become a weight that will crush down upon him. If he does not manage to catch up, he has to throw more into his economy right now than Harzer is if he wants to catch up. And that's just a very difficult task. It's really amazing that Harzer has managed to out-eco his opponent despite building so many more factories. Really, hats off play to him. He has managed this beautifully, and I think a lot of that's going to be down to the extra 15,000 mass he has managed to reclaim this game. He's just better on the reclaim game. Jagged is doing better with his individual units, and they're worth a little bit more. He's at 1.13 mass killed for every mass he has lost in units, but that's not a big enough differential to get rid of a 75 mass generation lead that is currently held by Harzer. So right now, this is quite the game we have on our hands. Harbingers over here to the east, going to be making their way up to the north. They're going to be trying to get rid of some of these expansion mexes, and up here to the northeast, if he can get in here, if he can kill off these T2 mexes, that will be powerful play indeed. And over to the west, he's kind of just using the commander. He's decided that the commander needs to hold this, needs to keep himself safe in this corner, and it's a pretty powerful play. I mean, the commander's going to do quite a bit, but this T3 shield, that's 10,000 HP that you have to chew through, and that's going to be very difficult. Over here to the east, Otham's engaging with Harbingers. The Harbingers win this as long as they kite it out, but the Harbinger left to die The Harbingers have more range on their primary weapon, and the Autumn only gets more DPS if those little side guns that you see on top of the side treads start firing. And the Autumn does go down there, and the Harbingers are going to hold the line. There's more Harbingers than Autumns here, which is also a pretty good play. And this is a very strong position over here for Jagged. And overall, the map state is even. Both sides kind of control about half the map. But Harzer is kind of getting a little bit more out of it right now. And up to the northwest, T3 Air has finished up for Harzer. What about Jagged? He also has T3 Air done and a T3 Pigeon to boot. So both sides have that T3 Air production that they will so desperately need moving forward. And both sides in a kind of a struggle right now. And up here to the northeast, there's just enough Harbs. They're starting to push in. They're starting to get some damage done if they can get in here. These T2 mexes over here, they're so exposed, so vulnerable, especially after that army goes down for Harzer. And I think Harzer is going to lose a little bit of his mass production here. I mean, it's not going to be enough for him to lose the mass generation lead right now, but it will be enough to hurt him. It will be enough to be a problem, especially if Jagged has the APM to make the heads-up play to reclaim the wrecks of the T2 mexes with the Harbingers. I know it's a lot of micro, and I know it's kind of a difficult ask of anybody, but you need to start taking away some of this eco from Harzer, and just killing off the mexes maybe isn't enough. You might need to take the reclaim of those mexes away as well, and he's also going to be able to get into some of this Autumn production. Has a lot of air over here to try and protect this push that he has going, and that push is going swimmingly for him. And the land factory now under threat. The Harbingers still just pushing forward, still just getting value. And right now, the factories are going down. And that northeastern expansion for Harzer going down means that Jagged has managed to take the economic lead. Harzer has had so much more production, but he's only recently had the mass to get it running. It's a slow, lumbering beast having all of these support factories, whereas Jagged has just said, screw it, I only need one factory if it produces them 3 times as fast as a single factory. And this is quite the plays coming out from Jagged. He's going for a shield. He wants to continue to use this strategy, to employ the strategy of I'll just use the commander to slow down any aggression on this expansion while my aggression on the other expansion is going swimmingly. And Jagged is very happy with the last couple of minutes in this game. Harzer going to be very unhappy with them. Harzer still getting up T3 mexes, and he still has a fair few to upgrade, so he will be able to stay competitive in that mass generation. But you can see the swings. He was 75 mass a generation ahead just moments ago, and now he is nearly 40 behind, and that's going to start showing up in mainly the air. I feel the land was already going kind of poorly, but with the ASF production, with restorers coming out onto the field, you gotta be a little bit worried for him, because it's gonna be difficult to deal with a ball of restorers if that is indeed what Jagged is gonna go for. You get up 15, 20 restorers, and most land forces just can't hold up to that level of air aggression. Now, of course, if he gets that many, he should fall behind in ASF production overall, but it is still something you have to be worried about. And over here to the northeast, Jagged, he's finally gonna lose these Harbingers, or wait, maybe not. He still outnumbers the Autumns. He still outnumbers them, so he's still in a strong enough position. He's just being so annoying. And this is very, very interesting game state right now. Harzer now behind. He's still behind about 40 mass generation. He's not really catching up. And that is going to mean that for the time being, Jagged is going to be able to spend on frivolous purchases like these restorers. He's going to continue to get up a few more of them, and in fact, he's not even spending that much mass. He's only spending 24 of his 200 mass a second on these restorers. He's just building them passively with a support factory. All of his assistance is going towards building these ASF, these Corona, which will be very, very powerful. And now with the commander having shield, in fact, he has heavy shield on that commander. He's going to be able to push forward. He's going to be able to be in a very, very fun kind of situation here where he's just going to mow down the T1, and anytime a T2, T3 unit shows up, he's going to have an overcharge to throw at him because he's producing 10,000 power a second. Woo, lordy. This is going to be a very spicy play. You usually don't see these Rambo commanders being useful past the about 15 to 17 minute mark, but Jagged, he got it late and he's making it work late. And I love to see it. Heavy shield, I think, is better than Chrono, but I am very partial to Chrono. I like the Chrono. The Chrono land is amazing. And over here to the south, that's a large contingent of Harbingers up to the northeast. More Harbingers are going to try and slip past the defenses of Harzer, but I think Harzer just has enough in the general area to stop this. This might be a little bit of a mass donation. And this southwestern corner is really getting built up. I think we're starting to get into that range where one of these players could look at a GC, could look at a Yathoda and say, good idea, I'll build one. And if that happens, that will be amazing. JaggedAppliance, on top of having the eco advantage, is currently sitting on 1.82 kill to loss ratio as far as mass is concerned. Every time he loses a single bit of mass, he gets almost 2 mass of value out of it in the combat. So it's very, very good for him right now. And he's pushing forward. He's getting close to the main base. This Guncom might be the straw that broke the camel's back. For Harzer, he needs to come up with a solution, and he needs to come up with it quick. Maybe it's build some T2PD just to stop all of this from pushing in, because there's more and more Harbingers showing up, and it's just more than Harzer can currently commit. But Harzer has his own plans. He's going to start sending a massive contingent of Othams towards the main base of Jagged. And we might be looking at a base trade very soon. Jagged should be able to see this. Does Jagged still have a few restorers kicking around? If he does, I'm not seeing them, but they could be vital. And he does. There's 4 restorers showing up right now to start firing onto this force. They're trying to get some damage done, but there's flak. There's T3 mobile AA. He has to be a little bit careful. He needs more units to show up over here. He needs some form of solution to this. I'd love to see these factories turn back on and make flares, as those will buy him a little bit of time. The air fight breaks out right now, and it looks as though it's going the way of Harzer. Yeah, and indeed, Harzer does win the air fight very handedly. So these restorers going to cease to exist. And that's going to be very unfortunate right now. It seems as though Harzer may have found the correct push, the correct situation. He even has a high ground here where he can use these Zooies to fire down upon the HQ and stop the Harbinger production. Oh no, it's a disaster! It seems almost inevitable that Jagged is going to lose his T3 land HQ. And with that, that might cost him the game. He's going to have to rebuild it somewhere in the back. He's already doing so, but he's only going to be T2 here in a moment. Where are his units? He needs to either get damage done over on the western side or get back to his base to protect it. He's managed to build some Oblivion point defenses in the main base. And the T2 HQ, it needs to start going T3, and it needs to start going T3 right now. It's not, which is going to be a slight issue. Why isn't it going T3? Did he forget to click it up? You can queue it up to go T3. Okay, well, we'll not look at that too much longer. I'm sure he will notice that sometime soon. Has a ton of assistance on it, so it's definitely on his mind. And over here to the west, Jagged now building his own shields. Both sides gonna have these shields. I think that the Seraphim shield is arguably better. It is, of course, T3. But the Asylum, it's so mass producible, he could have so many of them. It's an interesting situation. A bit of a run-by showing up over here for Jagged. And he is going to be able to chase down some of these Othams, but there's just a larger group of Othams over here. These Harbingers are going to go down. And over here to the southeast, he has the T3 going on the way now, finally. Does he have a T3 engineer assisting this? No, he doesn't, not as of the moment. He has built up a SAM or two to make sure he doesn't get airlocked. And Harzer, on the other hand, he has built up large T3 forces across the map. The mass generation, as even as it's been most of the game, both sides getting around 250 to 260 mass a second. And total mass generated, Harzer is ahead by about 20,000. And right now, Jagged is getting up a bunch of T2 and T3 engineers over here in the south. Could see an effort to make an experimental that's kind of the amount of build power you want to build one right now. And the T3 mexes, they're just flying up across the map for both sides. Almost full T3 mechs in the main base, if not already. Strat bombers out over here to the west for Harzer. He's trying to shut down this tactical missile battery. I didn't really mention it because I didn't think it was going to get too much done. But the tactical missiles are coming in. They're going to be shot down and they're going to impact on shields. He's not going to get too much value out of that, but he could be going for these T3 land factories. Oh no, it's just a lot of mass invested that's not going to get too much. And those strat bombers did manage to kill off the majority of those TML. And now there's a huge contingent of units in the middle for Harzer. And they just don't see how Jagged stops it. The air game not going good for Jagged as well. He's got the eco, he's got a lot of eco, but it's just not seeming to matter. With all of these T3 units pushing through the middle. There's a lot of PD in the base, so maybe this will be a bit of a mass dump. But I don't know if he can... static defense doesn't do that well into T3 armies. They kind of just kill it. And Strat Bomber, I think the Strat Bomber finally cleaned up, but the ASF over here for Jagged gonna be caught sleeping. And that's gonna be another lost air fight for Jagged. How is he gonna manage this? He has a lot of build power over here in the west. He has a decent number of Harbingers now built up. But it's still, he's dwarfed by the size of this army coming out from Harzer. He does have a lot of PD now thrown up as well. A shield going up. If that shield completes, it will keep these two Oblivions online for just that little bit longer. The Otham army, with its sniper bot support now starting to push in, would love to see the sniper bots lined up on this cliff. They can get a lot of damage done if they do that. Over here to the east, more army for Harzer pushing in. He's slowly constricting down onto the base of Jagged. And Jagged, he's going to make a push up here to the north, but there's enough units to defend this off. So that's just not going to go very well for him. And Jagged, he has a lot of PD in the base. The PD will slowly kill off this stuff over here on the east. He has a ton of Harbingers now built up. He's gonna lose at least one T3 mechs, but he's getting up a bunch of T3 mechs over on the west. So he'll be able to replace that pretty easily as long as he doesn't lose the base. And the fight is going to be bloody. Down here you can see all of the Oblivions firing into the oncoming Seraphim forces. The pathfinding not really helping the Seraphim player here, Harzer, because all of these Oblivions are getting firing right into one at a time. They're not splitting up their damage. They're killing off these T3 units one at a time, but the T3 Pigeons going down. Really gonna hurt the power generation of JaggedAppliance. The artillery, the T2 PD, all of it is going to maybe allow him to hold on here, and he managed to get in behind, kill off all the sniper bots before they became a real threat. But over here to the north, with that air grid being crippled, strat bombers are starting to become a very common sight on the map. And they're going to be very dangerous for JaggedAppliance. The T3 Air HQ did go down. Jagged has lost T3 tech on both fronts now at least once. The strat bombers, luckily, they're going to manage to hit mostly just shielding, but I don't think the second pass will be so lucky. Oh, here comes in the strategic bomb. What's it trying to hit? Oh, it gets rid of almost all the power there. These strat bombers are being brutal upon Jagged's power economy. Over here to the west, he's managed to build up quite a few T3 Pigeons, which will be good enough for now. It has to be for the red Aeon player. But now in the west, his fire base up here in the front, all of these artillery, they're under threat. He doesn't have the power to keep the lights on, or in this case, the shields. So he's going to be in a bit of a rough position. The artillery going to start going down. It's going to hurt. Oh, is he going to be able to keep any of the artillery alive? The shield goes down. The Othams not quite breaking through just yet. And there's Harbingers here. And they're mowing down the units as they move forward. The micro kind of lackluster out from Harzer isn't using the sniper bots behind the Othams. Is just having them all push forward together. And over here to the east, we now have Harbingers out for JaggedAppliance trying to fight this war. They're having to fight at a little bit of a terrain deficit. Advantage over here to Harzer. But his base is being reclaimed, and overall reclaim numbers, Jagged now in the lead. And he's actually shored up the mass generation total. He's caught up a little bit. He's now only 3,000. Earlier he was nearly 20,000 mass overall generated behind. And over here to the west, GC under production. He's kind of just moved all of his production. He's moved his main base over here to the west, and this eastern base is kind of a red herring. It's a distraction. A lot of forces are being tied up here, and a lot of fights are being lost by Harzer here, and it's leaving a ton of reclaim. Just look at all of this reclaim right here that's been left over the last few minutes, and now this base, I mean, other than the T3 mechs, doesn't have a ton of value. Has a little bit of production, but most of his build power is now over here in the west, and this area just hasn't been touched in so long. So that GC now on the way. Is there a chicken on the way? Yes, a chicken on the way. Gonna be done much quicker out from Harzer. And the chicken can win a fight against the GC, but at this level I expect the micro to be there. I expect Jagged to do the necessary micro to make the GC win. The strat bomber siege still going on, just throwing strat bombers in to kill off small targets. But there's now enough SAMs to kind of make them think twice about it. The T3 air production back online for Jagged now. And the Strat Bomber is going to finally kill off all of these artillery. And down to the middle of the map, the south. They have a bit of an army out from Harzer. Seems as though he wants to start threatening this base over here to the west. Has decided can't really compete with the base in the east with all of its PD. With all of the problems it's causing. And up here to the northeast. Oh no! No, Harzer! He left the back door open! He said, come on in, the water's fine! And Jagged, yet again, he's gonna be able to get his Harbingers into this position, and this time it's not T2 mexes we're talking about. This is T3. It's free real estate, and it's going down. Oh, it's brutal. Absolute Chad play coming out from the Aeon player here. Gonna kill off a ton of T3 mexes for free. And that's really gonna hurt the economy of Harzer. In fact, it's gonna put him just behind the economy of Jagged. But he does have that chicken complete. He has a serving of KFC heading down to deal with Jagged. But Jagged has a galactically colossal force down here in the southwest to do battle with Colonel Sanders himself. And over here, last T3 mechs going down. And Jagged, really masterful play coming out from him. He's in a power stall though. Needs to fix that, needs to fix it soon. How is he gonna fix? He's going for a patron. Has he noticed something I have not? No, he hasn't noticed a nuke launcher, but he's just worried about it. It's paranoia. But how is he gonna fix his power stall woes? Needs to pause air production. It's not like he's been winning that. Anyways. And the Strat Bomber count, these Strat Bombers are slowly becoming less impactful. There is a lot of air now built up for Jagged. I don't know if it's more than Harzer's Air Force, but it's starting to come to parity at the very least. And now GC Harbinger Force versus Chicken Otham and Sniper Bot Force out from Harzer. And now we are just kind of waiting for these forces to fight each other. The GC kind of has an advantage right here with the tractor beams. It doesn't really have to commit to an engage to start winning this fight. It's already killing off Othams. It's already getting up quite a little bit of veterancy, but needs to be careful. The chicken is now underneath a shield. That chicken being underneath a shield is going to be critical here. Another shield going up for the chicken. And the GC, it's gonna need to focus the chicken. Why is he not focusing the chicken? I don't understand the play here. He's going for everything but that experimental. And it seems as though he's just gonna lose the GC and the chicken's gonna be almost at full HP. Oh no! It's gonna be a disaster. The chicken's gonna start running away. What's the chicken doing? Oh! Both the experimental's gonna go down. In fact, the GC lives longer. If he can run away fast enough, the GC might be able to survive, especially if the RNG of that electric storm does not choose the GC as its primary target, and it doesn't. And the GC is slowly gonna be able to walk away, and the best part about this is you can just walk the GC completely out. Oh no! The Ion Storm does eventually get the GC there. Oh, that is brutal. The Ion Storm gonna kill off some Othams. Parting gift to Harzer. The issue is that that reclaim field now almost assuredly gonna go into the hands of Harzer. It's who can get the next experimental up over there. And Jagged hasn't got another GC done, but there's already another chicken done. Jagged has more mass generation But he's not spamming the experimentals as quickly as Harzer. It seems as though he's going for something else. And it's very scary. The good news, though, for Jagged is that there's not that much focus. I mean, he's going to be sending, what, 7 engineers to try and reclaim this? That's going to take a long time. And now he's going to start shifting his forces from the east to the west. He's got the GC on the way. Squealer is his name. Yeet Bigley is the name of this Spectre gunship. This is a very funny naming mod. And the Squealer is gonna need to be finished very soon. The Spectre gunships showing up, gonna try and get some damage done. I think that maybe Jagged has air, and if he does, this will be significant. But if he doesn't have air, this is just gonna, it's gonna be close. He needs to start getting more ASF out yet again. He goes for the air fight. The first turn looking good for Jagged. Harzer not having quite as nice turns, and immediately the air for Harzer evaporates. And these Spectres are going to have free reign to do all the damage. The only AA here is the chickens, and as you can see, it's kind of weak. So all of these Othams going to start dying. And the Spectre is going to get a ton of damage. Do continue, asks Harzer. Oh, he says XDF me. Oh, man. That was a very brutal air fight. And now Jagged, he's going to be pushing forward with the commander. I don't know if that was a mistake or not. Squealer is almost done. Coming online. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a pretty picture of Squealer. Yeah, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful unit. An absolute unit, some would call it. And yeah, this chicken, it's gonna take a lot of free damage. Already down nearly 10,000 HP. Now over 10,000 HP. For pretty much nothing. It's gonna try and hunt down these Harbingers, and it will get them. The Harbinger is gonna deal a lot of damage themselves. Is it enough for veterancy? Does give him a rank of veterancy. But overall now, the ACU going to be added into the mix, adding another unit with almost, that is pretty much 40,000 HP onto that commander. That's 40,000 HP that he has to chew through for Harzer. Over here, the main base, I don't even know why he's bothering to send such a piddly force over here. He knows there's a ton of Oblivions. Sure, he kills off a mechs, but that mechs will be rebuilt. At this level, players don't forget that kind of stuff. They rebuild mexes. And now Harzer very behind on economy. He is up on experimental count though. He has 2 chickens versus the 1 GC of Jagged. Is he starting a third? No, he is not. Jagged should have full intel here. He knows that there's 2 chickens, which means he has to fall back, but he can start using the Harbingers to reclaim. Come on, do it. Do it for the princess. I know you want to. He's not gonna do it, is he? And now we have ourselves an engineer drop out from Jagged, but it's just gonna immediately die. And Jagged is in a little bit of trouble. The chicken locks onto him. And the Asylum's gonna show up to try and protect him. The chickens are throwing everything they have at him. Oh no, that shield about to pop, and now he's down to HP only. Harzer says dance, and Jagged is doing his damnedest, but Jagged goes down! And that's gonna be the end of our first cast today. Kind of an anticlimactic end. But that was a very, very fun game. Thank you all for watching. You all are beautiful. My name is Willow. This was casted live on my YouTube channel. Join the Discord to get notified when I go live. You also may get notified by the YouTube system. And you all are so beautiful. Thank you to the channel members and Patreons who support this channel oh so much. If you want to support the channel further, please consider either of those options. This is Willow, signing off.